welcome into the CHGO White Sox postgame show, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. You can follow me on X. We're going to start doing that now. X.
Yeah?
Because now it's X.com.
You want to just do this every time?
Yeah, you have to get a new X logo and everything, Steven. I mean, you're all mad about your folder disappearing. You're going to have to make all new graphics. Sucks for you. Follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Follow the show on Twitter at CHGO_White Sox. We've got the full CHGO White Sox crew with me today. Vinnie in a nice new shirt. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can read his articles up at allchgo.com. The man in the middle, Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. We are going to be talking mostly about the trade deadline tomorrow in our off-day show. So if you are looking for a lot of trade deadline stuff and getting into the nitty-gritty of that, that will be tomorrow. And also, the Sox just wrapped up a 9-game road stand. So they'll be coming to Guaranteed Rate Field this week, and Vinny will be back at the park. So got to make sure you're following him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. We're coming to you live after a White Sox loss, 5-4 in 12 innings. That game was hell.
Yeah.
They're up 3-0 in the ninth inning. Thank you, Steven. And then it took about 2 hours for them to bunt just every single inning. I mean, Joey Gallo's bunting, Zach Remillard hits a homer, and then he goes up and bunts twice. I mean, that was the most obnoxious game of baseball I've ever seen in my life.
I just wanted the Twins to win in the ninth. We knew the outcome of this game was going to be the Twins winning the game. Just do it quicker, please. I mean, Kendall Graveman started that ninth inning with a walk. And when that happened, I was like, okay, you got a 3-run lead, and you're putting a guy on. What do you think is going to happen? It's the Minnesota Twins in Minnesota. They do dumb things there, and the White Sox lose games. I'm glad that they got swept because this season's over. Might as well get a better opportunity to get a better draft next year. But just, they had some good things that happened in today's game, but also a lot of White Sox things. Drop fly balls. Colás falls down on a ball that's hit to medium right field, and then Joey Gallo scores easily because he's on the ground. A lot of things just wrong with the White Sox and a lot of the fundamental stuff that showed itself today.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've talked most of this season, hey, they brought in this new manager, this new coaching staff who wanted. I don't think you can question Pedro Grifol's desire for them to clean everything up, but boy, they've not cleaned anything up. And we've been talking all this season about how much this baseball looks like it did last year. And remember, we don't have to keep bringing up the fact that last year it was a miserable disappointment and they went 500. Right. They are currently 19 games below 500 right now, which is significantly worse. But, I mean, they bring in the new coaching staff, the new manager. We're gonna get this all fixed. Everybody's gonna get to the players they were all supposed to be. Forget all these mistakes in the field and on the bases and with the strike zone. It's all gonna be fixed. These guys are gonna come in and teach them up real good. It's just the same. It's the same story on a pretty much daily basis. I mean, the defensive struggles today include some stuff behind the plate. Herb, you mentioned some of the plays in the outfield. The offense just not coming through when it needs to, with the exception of that one Tim Anderson double in extra innings. I mean, the pitching for 8 innings, scoreless. Mm-hmm. What more do you want? And then we saw the same thing that we saw yesterday when the bullpen gives up that meager lead. So, again, there's not a lot of margin for error for the bullpen, but, again, the bullpen, you got to do that. This is your job. So for Kendall Graveman to come in, give up 3 runs, and all of a sudden they're playing 3 more innings, this is a lot of the same stuff that we saw throughout the year last year, a lot of the same stuff we've seen throughout the year this year, obviously, through the first, what is now 4 months of this season. There's a reason that they are in as deep of a hole as they are. And remember, it wasn't long ago that we were talking about, will they really be sellers kind of thing at the deadline here? We're a little bit more than a week out of the deadline. They are almost 20 games under 500. You're not contending for anything when your record's looking like that.
Vinny, there were chirps about buying after they took 2 from the Braves. All right, I mean that was post All-Star break. That was still even lingering around. And then they just have fallen off the table, losing 5 of their last 6. Against New York and Minnesota. They return home for 2 more against the Cubs. And I was about to say it before Kendall Graveman came in, and I held myself back because then he let up a base runner, and then that really didn't stop that inning. But I was about to say, Man, they've played a really complete game today because we always talked about, whenever the hitting's there, the pitching isn't. Whenever the pitching is there, the hitting's not. Whenever all that shows up, the defense or the base running isn't there.
I mean, they had 3 runs.
That's true.
Yeah.
2 homers, though. That's true. And they had the 3-0 win over Philadelphia where they almost threw a no-hitter. Did they throw a no-hitter? I don't know. Close to a no-hitter.
The White Sox?
Yeah.
Close
when
to
Lucas
one.
took that one 6 innings or whatever, yeah.
Not a no-hitter.
It was not a no-hitter, correct.
But yeah, that was the other game that was kind of close to a full effort, and then just completely unraveled. That play with Colás in right field, we'll get to it a little bit later with Pedro Grifol's comments, and that's really what our show is going to be about today. Is Pedro Grifol. We did see Eloy Jimenez have one of those homers. Zach Remillard also hit his first career homer. We also have not seen Andrew Vaughn in 5 days. 4 games now. So we'll talk about what Pedro is doing with them from a health standpoint, and then we'll get into Pedro's comments about Oscar Colás needing to, quote-unquote, turn the volume down. But let's get into Eloy. We did see quotes yesterday about Pedro saying that this is a must-win game, that, of course, he's going to be playing Eloy no matter what. And he did say as long as he doesn't push it to an intensity that's going to hurt him running, I think we've all seen him run down the line at much less than 100%. I don't think he's going to get hurt doing that. But then again, this is not an easy decision. I just think we need offense. So, Pedro, we see the groin stiffness.
For Eloy?
Yeah.
He's got a nagging groin.
We saw that flare up in the Braves series. Then we saw him return against the Mets. We saw him in the Minnesota series. And then, really the decision of giving him rest after he's been dealing with this groin injury or playing him in 4 straight games. They decide, let's play him in 4 straight games because it's a must-win, and they still lose. I don't know. That's obviously not in Pedro's hands, but what did you make of the comments about Eloy and pushing him out there even though he's not 100% and isn't really able to run?
Yeah, I think that it is somewhat an explainer of the question that so many White Sox fans have been asking over the last few years. It's like, if this guy can't play at close to 100%, why is he playing at all, kind of thing, and that's come up over and over again. I think what it is just because of the sheer volume of those type of situations for the White Sox. Fans are getting an education in what that really means, and I don't think they like it very much, but the idea being that, hey, Eloy can give them something, and it is a bat that is capable of hitting a home run, as you saw today. Take advantage of that because your team is worse off without that kind of thing. Now, again, there's the idea of last year going through all of this, they were in a playoff race. Right now, they're not in the playoff race, and I'm sure Pedro believes that every game is a must-win game. They need to win every night. Sure. Good for him for having that attitude. But they're, 14 games out of first place right now? They're not going to win the division. They're not going to compete for a playoff spot this year. It would seem to me that you would maybe want to take care of a guy who you have invested a lot of money and time in and have under control for a lot more time. Now, obviously, Eloy the decisions have already been made to make him a DH. He's already been through injury frustration. We know the history with Eloy Jimenez. I don't think this is a specific to Eloy other than the fact that he's the guy in the middle of this situation right now. But, why isn't he on the injured list if he can't run? Because they think the lineup's better with him in it. He can hit at least, and that's frustrating to a lot of people. I'm sure it's frustrating to Eloy, but that's the reality right now. Now, Vaughn seems to be a different story because he apparently can't move, it seems right now, because of the bruise on his foot. They haven't put him on the injured list, and the idea probably is, as I've explained many times before, they probably don't think it will keep him out for a full 10 days, right? But we did hear from Daryl, who's reporting for the Sun-Times throughout this road trip, that it is a possibility that he goes on the IL if this doesn't kind of clear up soon. So, the guy's in a walking boot.
Well, yes.
It's just to me, when they're saying these things last year, and they're in the middle of a playoff race, it rings a little different than saying it now when it's like, well, what do you got to lose if these guys aren't playing, right? You already are losing the games with them in there.
Exactly.
Is there a way? But again, these guys they all have individual situations, so I'm not going to play doctor here or anything. But
did you say the IL is on the table for?
That's what Daryl was reporting. Yeah.
From the Sun-Times, this is from Pedro, quote, we haven't even talked about the IL.
This was today. He was saying this today. That
okay.
quote, I believe,
that was
is
yesterday.
from yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Okay, I'm sorry. I missed the new quotes then. So, I mean, but what changes in a day? Like, just the severity?
He
the
still
more
can't
swelling?
walk without pain. Okay. I mean, I think the idea is, hey, if you show up tomorrow and the pain's gone, then we're moving in the right direction. We don't need to put you on the IL because we'd rather not have you for 7 games and have you for 3 versus not having you at all for 10.
Yeah,
but
retroactive 3 days.
There was,
IL.
yeah, I saw some rules being mentioned that you're allowed to wait 3 days to use that retroactive thing, and then that kind of starts not being the option anymore. You can't sit around for 9 days and be like, we're retroactiving it to 9 days ago, right?
But you always talk about the stamina bar. You always talk about those levels, and it's not like a video game, and it's weird that it's, he just needs time off for it to heal. Like, I don't understand why they are so allergic to that idea that Andrew Vaughn just might need 10 days to be 100% or near 100% of the player, because right now he's not going to be 100% until what you thought Tuesday, but now it seems like that timeline's even moving further. So it's like,
I think they probably make this decision on Tuesday.
Yeah, and I think me as a White Sox fan, I'm frustrated because it keeps on happening. We saw this last year with Luis Robert, obviously being hurt and still playing through the injuries. And I don't know why they're allergic to the IL. Like, they don't get fully healthy and they continue to get hurt. Like, Eloy is continuously hurt. Like, and I think some of that is they don't allow him to get to whatever 100% of what he has and then start him on a rehab assignment and then go to the major leagues to hit the ground running. But we continue to play. He's got a groin strain, and Andrew's got a foot. Yohan's got a back forever. These guys don't get healthy because they continue to play them. This is the frustrating part about the White Sox. And it would be one thing if their philosophy works, like these guys play through the injuries and then they post the numbers that they usually post. But no, you always see them play as a shell of themselves. I mean, you did see a good home run from Eloy Jimenez today, and that's awesome. That's what he should do. But I don't want him on the field if he's hurt at any point, because we know one injury is going to lead to the next, and then he's going to be out for an extended period of time.
But the alternative is him being out for an extended period of time.
That's fine.
And I'm not arguing in one position or the other. I'm just saying when you say just shut him down, you're looking at the whole roster being on the IL again for a 3rd straight year.
That's fine. That's bad.
And then you'd be frustrated by that, too.
No, well, I'm definitely going to be frustrated by that. The roster construction and management has been terrible by Kenny and Rick. They deserve most of the blame for this, so Pedro's just dealing with the people that Rick and Kenny give him. But if players are hurt, they're hurt. You just don't go by, hey, we kind of need this guy. I'm not going to put him on the IL because his bat is more valuable than his legs. It, to me, is frustrating. And I see people playing DFA Kendall Graveman. Come on, people. Let's be smart about this. But you got to IL people when they're hurt. Like, Andrew Vaughn should be on the IL. If he's in a walking boot, to me, that means he can't play. Get on the IL. We'll see you on the other side of this. In 10 days, we'll see where you're at. They don't do that. And it's frustrating to me because their philosophy of this doesn't work. If it worked, I would say, I disagree, but I see the results are favorable, so I can see why you do it. But they're seeing bad results, and the process is bad, so I don't know why they continue to do it.
And, I mean, too, the thing that frustrates me, and real quick, just to give Eloy a little bit of credit, since he has returned from the original injury during the Brave series, he's been on base 8 times, 2 extra base hits, 1 walk.
He can hit.
7 hits. I mean, designated hitter is a position.
He can hit.
I mean, he has been able to put the ball in play. I mean, he's not really the reason why they've lost, 3 straight now. But again, if Vaughn goes to the IL for 10 days, I mean, we know in spring training that Jake Berger has been playing first base, and we're talk about Jake Berger possibly moving to second base when Moncada's healthy enough to come back from his rehab assignment. It's like, I mean, maybe just give Andrew 10 days off and then have Jake Berger not play out of position at second base, play at a normal position he's comfortable at first base, instead of hoping that Andrew Foote's beach ball of an ankle is going to, swell down to normal size. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like they've had a clearer direction when they did spend a lot of effort this year with the injury side of these things. Like, it does seem like it's just exactly what they were doing last year, where we're just going to wait and see. We're just going to wait and see.
But last year they had a reason, is what I'm trying to say. And again, I'm not suggesting that they would sacrifice their players' health intentionally. Yeah. What I'm saying is that when you say to us, when the explanation is, the thought process is, he's going to sit 7 days, but it's so we can have him for those 3 days because, boy, he's so important to us that we need him for those 3 games because every game is important in this race with Cleveland. 19 games under 500 right now. Tell me why it's important to have Andrew Vaughn for 3 days versus not having him for 10.
It's not. And honestly, how do you know that he's going to be back in 3 days?
You don't.
What if he's out for 10 days too?
I feel like the point being that the risk seemed worth it when those guys could contribute to a win on any day, on any one day, because one day maybe was going to be all that was going to separate the winner of the AL Central when we were talking in August last year, kind of thing. Throughout those first 5 months, it was, hey, they could still win this thing, and they just need to win a couple more games than Cleveland. But now, in the situation they're in now, the reward for taking that risk is not there at all. It's not there at all.
Nope. And
so, to me, there is no risk then, because just sit the guy down, he'll be back at some point.
You'd hope. And yeah, I mean, it's just, again, 19 games under 500. I mean, what is truly the reward? And you look at it, Gavin Sheets is struggling. He's not a good baseball player. And you see Victor Reyes, who in AAA has got an OPS over 850. It's just why aren't they trying other things as well? They just seem so married to the 26 guys outside of Hanser Alberto and Jake Berger of the opening day roster. It's just, I don't know.
Well, I think the point is, if it's gotten to the point where you're calling for why aren't they bringing up Victor Reyes, things have already gone a little too wrong, right?
19 games under 500. Yeah, no, I mean, Ryan McGuffey had that tweet earlier, and he's going to be joining us tomorrow, so that should be fun. He said, at no point I ever thought after 100 games the White Sox would be sitting at 41-59, now 41-60. You predicted, I think, a little bit over 500. I think 85.
I had them winning
wins.
90 games, yeah.
They can still do it, right?
I mean,
they got to get hotter than shit.
They got to get hot. I mean, again, did we ever picture 19 games under 500?
No one did.
Yeah.
Not a person that's watching and or listening predicted the White Sox to be this bad. Not a person.
And
not one.
If I was to predict that, I would have thought Dylan Cease was out for the year. Luis Robert Jr. was out for the year. You're telling me that they're 19 games under 500. Luis Robert Jr. has now played basically 100 games and has a 2020 season. And there's 19 games under 500. Again, he was called the MVP candidate for a reason. He still might win that award if Shohei Ohtani's traded in the National League. And yet, again, they just sit here, I think, 12 games out of first place, not 14 games.
Not 14? All right. Yeah. Wow, I was getting overzealous. I'm sorry.
Insane. Let's take a break. We'll let you know about our friends over at Goose Island and Game Time. Goose Island has been Chicago's beer since 1988. CHGO is supported by Goose Island Beer Company, and their beer roster includes Goose Island IPA, the Tropical Beer Hug Series, and the 312 Wheat Ale, which I know Herb was enjoying earlier.
Yes, it was.
Make sure you're checking out our events coming up with Goose. We already sold out the first of the Crosstown Series event at Guaranteed Rate Field on July 26th, but we will be coming to Wrigley Field on August 16th. At 7:05, tickets include a pre-game meetup, one of your choices of the shirt, the Crosstown shirt, whether the north side or south side. You also get tickets to the game, and we'll be basically walking from a bar on the north side, so transportation's not really included. You'll just have to walk over.
I mean, your feet are included with your body.
That's true. And diehards do get a discount. So if you are a diehard and want to sign up for the program, check out allchgo.com. Diehards get 20% off to events like that. Grab an ultra fresh brewery exclusive beer at Goose Island's original brew house on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or from their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer. I've heard, beer scientifically helps you relax. And what else would help you relax after that nightmarish White Sox game than beer? Also, if you missed out on your chance to get tickets for the Crosstown game on Tuesday, or on Wednesday that we're going to, or on Tuesday, there's games Tuesday, Wednesday, Sox and Cubs. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Maybe you are waiting till the last minute, the last second to get the best deal to Cubs Sox. Maybe you've never gone. I'm going to my first ever Cubs Sox game on the 26th. Should be fun.
Yeah.
Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets.
You're going to have an experience on yourself.
We're going to have people there at the game. And
yes.
You said, ugh.
No.
You're really selling this event, Herb.
No, we already sold out. The people who are going are going. That's all good. But Cubs Sox, to me, It's not a baseball game. It's a fight. It's just a fight for 9 innings.
I'll bring my brass knuckles.
Yeah.
Game time is the
They
fastest.
won't let you in with those.
Oh, well.
Set off the metal detector.
I got a place.
Goddamn Lagoose.
Ugh.
It was like my shoe. It was not even.
No,
like
it wasn't. All right. Keep doing the read. Keep doing
Mercy.
the read.
All right. Game time is the fastest
the
and easiest
reviews.
way to buy tickets. I'm not even listening to your sides, everybody. All right, we're blocking you out. We're just telling everybody about game time. Game time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. Have you seen the Night Sweats yet?
August 10th.
August 10th.
I'm going, yeah.
It's coming up. Vinnie got tickets to Nathaniel Ratliff and the Night Sweats. He was prepared. He was on top of his game. He wanted tickets the second it came out. But again, if you're not looking to, stress yourself out, maybe you want last-minute tickets, maybe you want to walk up to Guaranteed Rate Field on the 25th or 26th and just buy tickets on your phone and walk right in. Game Time has the best deals for you. And again, you can forget planning months in advance because the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So snag the tickets without the stress. Game Time, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, so the comments from Pedro on Eloy and the injuries, obviously we dissected them. But the one that also got people riled up this weekend was his comments on Oscar Colás. Again, this is from Daryl Van Schouwen of the Chicago Sun-Times. And the title of the article is, White Sox want Oscar Colás to turn down the volume. And these are the quotes from Pedro Grifol. Quote, "We have to dial down on the intensity level. This might sound a little weird, but he plays the game at a 10 volume. We need to play him at an 8. A 10 makes him a little reckless, especially at the plate. Let the game come to him as opposed to trying to do too much." Grifol on Oscar Colás, and Mike Tozar even had comments on Colás. They need to shrink the strike zone and not try to cover everything. Everything is based on the fastball, trying to have him know where the edges are at and staying away from the edges, keeping him moving towards the middle of the plate. We did see the play in right field today that really let this game unravel, where it was a sac fly that seemed like Remillard and Colás didn't communicate well enough on, and then Colás, to make the play, had to lunge, fell off his feet, and then from his butt tried to make a crazy throw home to get Joey Gallo. Did not. Game was tied, and then we went into extras. Outside of that, Colás had a pretty nice game. 3 hits, stole a base as well.
Threw a guy out,
and let's bring up that stat, too, from Sarah Langs of MLB.com. Oscar Colás's 100.9 mile per hour assist was the fastest outfield assist of the year in MLB and the White Sox fastest tracked outfield assist under StatCast going back till 2015.
Cuban Ohtani.
Put him on the
Ohtani.
mound.
He can throw.
Hey, Dylan Cease, the ace for 2024. Michael Kopech, number 2 starter with a high ceiling. Number 3, Cuban Ohtani.
That's a tough
He's made 26 and 27 on the roster.
That will not happen, but
okay.
do remember that, the guy has a pitching background, so when you see him throw a very nice throw from right field like that, that is very much in his arsenal, very much something he can do. Those comments from Pedro, I understand why people would just see them and be, as you put it, riled up. Nobody likes to assume that players are being told to give less effort or not try so hard. But that's very much not what that was. And I think if you think back all the way to the first month and what you saw from Oscar Colás, you saw a guy whose energy and excitement to be in the major leagues and that whole quote-unquote new blood kind of feel, right? That was delivering in moments. You were seeing him on the base paths and in the outfield and in certain moments being able to do things and rile guys up and get the team going with that energy. There is no way in hell the White Sox want to stop that. But when he came back from the minor leagues a little short while ago, he told us that the thing that was bothering him in the first month, in his first month as a Major League Baseball player, was anxiety. Really, he was too anxious. He was too
juiced.
He was just too kind of jittery up there and was trying to do too much because of it. There was an emotional aspect, a mental aspect that was contributing to the poor results that he had in the first month of the season, just as much as just facing Major League pitching for the first time, right? And so going up there to the plate and just trying to hit a 5-run homer every time you're up there, that's what led to him chasing. It's what led to him not being able to control the strike zone very well, and it's what led to some of those very poor offensive numbers. And I think we even saw some defensive mistakes, like we did today, where that could also be applied. And so it's not so much dialing back the effort, right? It's not so much dialing back the try-hardness, if you will. It's focusing. It's making sure that the energy is being delivered in a way that's going to make the play easier to make, that's going to make the ball easier to hit, that's going to give you a good at-bat. It's calming down more than it is not trying so hard. And listen, we saw there was a play that happened, I believe it was right after that play where he fell down in the 10th inning and let the run score. There was a single hit to center field, and Luis Roberts just waiting for the ball to come to him like a very routine base hit. And out of the camera, Oscar Colás comes flying in and cuts the ball off, and we're like, what's going on? And it's that kind of thing. It's that whole don't be trying so hard that you're making mistakes. Dial the anxiety back a little bit, dial the energy back to where you can calm yourself down and be able to focus and concentrate and make good decisions, because that is what the problem is with Oscar Colás, it would seem, at least in the first month of the season, and certainly the results have not been much better since he came back before the nice game today at the plate. And so I think that's what those comments mean. Obviously, Twitter or X or whatever we're going to call it starting tomorrow is not a place where long-form context lives, and so I can see where some folks would be upset at just the first blush comments there, but there is some context that goes along with the struggles that he was having in the first month of the season.
I mean, we talked about in the offseason, last year was Oscar Colás's only year before this year in the United States playing minor league baseball. And the White Sox had opportunities to go and get a right fielder and have this question be put off to 2024. But they didn't. They went and got a left fielder, and, of course, Andrew Benintendi's been all right. But they left Pedro Grifol with no options except for Oscar Colás or Gavin Sheets, a player that's only 1 year in minors or a first baseman playing right field. Bad roster construction now leads into Pedro having to play this guy every day in April in his first taste of Major League Baseball. And, of course, every baseball player who first starts in Major League Baseball is going to be nervous, is going to be anxious, is going to be trying to do everything he can to impress the team and to make the team win. And so this is one of the reasons why I wanted him to start the year in the minors and make him force the issue that he's got to come up. And go and get a guy before this, like Cody Bellinger. Go and get the guy we saw score a couple of runs today, Joey Gallo. Go and get anybody else, Michael Conforto. Somebody can play right field that's played right field before, that is a solid glove, so you don't have this kid having to perform at a high level on a team that is expected to win. So this was a major mistake by the front office initially. They've done it with players before, where they brought up Vaughn after a year of being in the minors, and then, of course, the break and working at Schaumburg, but 1 year in the minors. They see how that's going. It's not going great. It's all right, but he's not the player that he should be at this point. They just keep on messing up the plays that they're supposed to do. I hope they don't do this with Colson Montgomery. Let him be down in the minors all next year. Not get fooled by all the home runs he's hitting right now and all the good stuff he's doing. Let him force the issue. And they didn't do that with Oscar Colás. They got a little too happy. It's like, this guy's going to come to our lineup and hit X amount of home runs, and he's going to be contributing to our team. This is a problem with Rick Hahn, not necessarily Pedro Grifol. He's got to play the players out there, and I think he thinks that Oscar Colás gives him the best chance to win. And at this point, with their 19 games below, he's got to play every single game. If I see Zach Remillard out there again in right field, I'm gonna be pissed, because
That's your guy.
yeah, he's a 30-year-old middle infielder. Great that he's having a great year, but he shouldn't play right field ever again, especially when Oscar Colás is available. Oscar Colás should be playing all the available games in right field unless he needs a blow. It's like you've committed. You're pot committed. He should be playing.
Who has more home runs this year, Oscar Colás or Zach Remillard?
Total?
Yeah.
Like in the majors and minors?
No, just MLB. It's a push.
Oh, they won each?
It's Matchbox 20's push.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, I don't care who plays right field. I get your point absolutely, though. I mean, let's look back at this offseason. This team that was 81 and 81, the two pushes that they signed this offseason to get them over the edge or to get them, back on track was Andrew Benintendi and Mike Clevenger. That just wasn't enough. I mean, again, I didn't think the quality of Benintendi was enough. But again, if they added one more guy and they got Gallo and Benintendi, I'd be a lot quieter on this side of the table. I mean, absolutely.
Joey Gallo is hitting under $190.
That's fine.
He's got 17 homers.
Sure, and
that
that's
would
good.
help out.
That's a 107 OPS.
The White Sox
That's
currently have the worst.
Oscar Colás is like 415.
Currently have the worst right field situation in Major League Baseball.
And they
Again.
have for 5 years.
Again.
Yeah, I mean, Nomar Mazara, Adam Eaton, now Oscar Colás. I mean, again, they just have not been able to solidify this. And even the guy that we talked about in the first segment. I mean, again, I feel like the glass is shattered now on Pedro Grifol. We talked about this a little bit in May when he was playing Eloy like 7 straight games in right field. It's like, of course that's going to cave in on you because we've seen that this player just doesn't have that level of durability to be out in the field. I also don't know if he has the level of play to actually be an outfielder as well, but we've learned that a long time ago. And also we know that right field is a more difficult position than left field to play.
Yes.
So they're moving them from left to right field. A lot of these moves just don't make sense for this team. They needed a more aggressive offseason if they actually wanted to push themselves above 81 and 81. And Clevenger's been fine, but when was the last time we talked about him? When was the last time he pitched for the Sox? June 14th?
He's pitched since the early June.
I don't know.
Been out for almost 2 months.
What's wrong with him?
They needed more depth. Period. And they just did not have that at all. And this is what happens when all that depth, all the players, above the depth get hurt and aren't as consistent as you needed them to be. We're seeing some consistency from Tim Anderson, but really does feel like a little too late. I mean,
it's a lot too late.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that maybe there is still Tim Anderson in that body, but again, it's a lot too late for the 2023 Chicago White Sox. I think we got like 90 people watching. 96, great year. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, people. We're at 96 viewers, but only 21 likes. We'd like to see that go up a little bit more. And Pop saying it's sad when these dudes are wishing for Joey Gallo. Dude, I'd take anything. I mean, Zach Remillard.
Yeah, Joey Gallo in that case too.
Victor Reyes apparently
would be helping with the offensive pop, and he'll be hitting probably middle to lower bottom of the order, helping with home runs and with his glove and with his speed. You saw the speed today. Like that would be much better than we would have right now. Much better.
Hey, Hanser Alberto's still a free agent. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll jump into Lucas Giolito. And that's mainly going to be the large point of tomorrow is where will Lucas go. So we'll focus on his pitching today.
And the point is, it didn't take a lot to please White Sox fans this offseason, and they still fell short. Like, they could have went and got all these people who were all flawed. Every single one of the offensive players that we named, all flawed, but they would have completed an offseason. Everybody was like, you got 2 outfielders, pretty good. Now let's move on to the starting pitcher in depth. It doesn't take a lot. And right now, even if they trade a bunch of players, they're still in the AL Central. It won't take a lot for next year for them to compete. Now, will they do it is the thing. I say no.
Steven, can you check Slack real quick? And do you have that sound effect I had you load in last week? We didn't get to it. All right, cool. Well, we'll get to it in a sec. All right, let's take a break. Want to let you know about FOCO. Get fit in the best sports gear around. Hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between over at FOCO.com. 2 of the lovely bobbleheads on our desk right now were donated by FOCO. And so go make sure you show them some love at FOCO.com, FOCO, or click the link in the description below. Since it's baseball season, they got Aloha shirts, straw hats, polos, bags, everything you need for a game. And for all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off over at FOCO.com, FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below. And again, for all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. There is that sneaky Arkansas Andrew Benintendi bobblehead out there, folks, that you can go snatch up today with the promo code CHGO for 10% off over at FOCO.com. You guys ready to golf?
Of course I am.
I saw we got more foursomes sold for our CHGO Kickoff Classic at Cog Hill, August 25th, 9 a.m. We got 18 holes with a cart, and that's included with your ticket when you sign up. Again, 9 a.m. shotgun start, 18 holes with a cart. You also get an exclusive Pins and Aces polo for all the players that sign up. And we'll have hole contests, giveaways, and prizes. And there'll be lunch, drinks, and a ceremony after the round. And diehards, if you are a diehard or want to sign up, you do get 20% off this event and all events. You also get a free shirt when you sign up. You get access to our members-only Discord that's called the CHGO Lounge. Some premium written content up at allchgo.com. And obviously you get to hang out with everybody in here to, vibe with and commiserate with after a White Sox loss. So make sure you're going to allchgo.com to check out the Die Hard program. And again, make sure you're checking out the CHGO Kickoff Classic at Cog Hill. We'll be golfing on August 25th, and we'd love to see everyone out there. Let's get into my first verdict. Steven, hit the gavel and pop up the trade proposal. Lucas is obviously going to be a big
Is that
thing
what
tomorrow.
that's supposed to be?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not gavel.
It's too deep to be a gavel. Like, a gavel is just a solid wood hitting solid wood. It should be more like that was like someone beating on a door.
We have a wooden bat here.
There you go. I'd be careful, but yeah. That's better. That's better.
All right.
Yeah.
Court is in
Welcome
session.
to Foley artists. Who are the people that
Foley.
Foley. Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. That's my part-time job. is a
Do
Foley
some good
artist.
Foley work.
So this is Jim Bowden works for The Athletic, and he was a former GM. And we know we don't like baseball trade values because, again,
Because it's always wrong.
it's stupid. But also, I think Jim Bowden is just like baseball trade values, where he's always wrong. And I'm going to make
Yes.
a declaration here: no more fake trade proposals. We don't know enough. Baseball's too deep. I mean, there are, 30 people on the MLB roster, the AAA roster, the AA roster, the single A roster, the low A roster, the Arizona affiliate, the whatever.
Complex League.
League.
Yeah.
They probably got some international
Dominican
camp folks.
Dominican League, yeah.
So, what I'm going to say is it's too much shit going on. Like, it's just way too much going on. It's like Oppenheimer. I don't know anything about fission or fusion. I just know that the bomb went off, and that was big.
Hey, spoilers.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. There's a bomb in Oppenheimer. So I just am going to say, it makes sense for NBA trades because you got to make a salary cap. You got to balance out the salaries. And trade won't work if the salaries don't balance out. You can trade
Also,
draft
you're trading
picks.
major leaguers.
Right,
Or
yeah. Yeah,
you're not trading minor leaguers is the point.
And you can trade all your draft picks away. You can't trade draft picks. Putting together baseball trade packages are a fool's errand. It is stupid. Even guys who used to have the job can't even do it, so we shouldn't do it, all right? And the one that he proposed was Tim Anderson, Lucas Giolito, and Kendall Graveman going to the Dodgers for Diego Cartaya, their top prospect. I think his name is Michael Stone, Gavin Stone, and then a second base prospect, Vasas, I think it is. I can't pronounce his first name. But, again, you can see the value there, 53 to 40 or 53 to 4.
But that's madness. Those
Right.
three people have never played Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Two of those three people on the left are all-stars in Major League Baseball.
Word.
And also, those people could help the Dodgers win the World Series tomorrow, and the people on the right might never make the major leagues. How could you say that they're more valuable than them? That's silly.
Yeah, that's and to the Dodgers, maybe since they have a lot of depth, those people are not necessarily much more valuable than anybody else. Those guys go into the White Sox immediately, they shot up to the top of the rankings.
I heard a thing. It's just all of the publications have Diego Cartaya as the best Dodgers catcher, but the Dodgers might think that Michael Rushing, who's the third best prospect and is also a catcher, is a better prospect.
Exactly.
At
the time, back in the day,
don't know enough.
Jeff Leafer won the minor league player of the year, but Maglier Ordonez, who was ranked lower than him, was the better player. In the White Sox prioritize Maglier Ordonez over Jeff Leafer, rightly so, because they know the player. And maybe a team like the Dodgers is in a battle with the Diamondbacks, both for the division and for the services of Lucas Giolito, etc. They want to put in an extra person. So the values there doesn't matter because maybe Andrew Freeman's like, I don't give a goddamn. I want Lucas Giolito. I think he could lead us to be one of the best teams in baseball as a third, fourth starter on our rotation. Type of thing. And Tim Anderson will be solidify our shortstop position until we get home dude back next year. They might part with some people that they don't want to because they know that the D-backs are also wanting to get a starting pitcher and also some other help to win the AL or the NL West. So they can throw all those things away, especially like Baltimore. Like people are talking about Cease maybe going. They have a lot of people. And maybe it doesn't match up 1-to-1, but they see Cease as a future player, and they give out some players that you probably don't think, man, they're giving out way too much for Dylan Cease, but they don't see those players are going to be helping their team winning a championship in the near future, while they see Cease being the top of the rotation, winning a championship this year, which is very valuable to Baltimore. When's the last time they won a championship?
83.
Like in the 80s?
Many moons ago.
83, yeah.
83. So yeah, I mean Baltimore though they're cheap. They're a cheap organization. So I mean they got like 9 of the top 100 prospects. They could put a package together for Cease, but
Jesus.
We'll see.
Do
and
it.
We're not the people to put together a package for Dylan Cease because again we're not Major League Baseball GMs. So we're not going to try. If you're looking for that, no, we're not going to do it.
We'll do it after they trade him.
Again, fool's errand. Lucas Giolito, though, likely going to be traded. Steven, feel free to flash the starting pitcher line. Gio went 5 innings, no earned runs, 6 hits allowed, 3 walks surrendered, but 9 strikeouts, and career strikeout 1,000 for him. Not 1,000 with the Sox, as we found out. He's like
He had
5
11
away?
with the Nationals.
What's that?
He had 11 with the Nationals.
So he's 9 away.
Yeah, so 9 away. So there you go. So Lucas 9 away from 1,000 with the White Sox, but does he even get there?
It's a good question. We'll see. We've seen the White Sox and obviously plenty of other teams make moves in the days before the deadline in years past. So you don't have to necessarily wait till August 1st to see some of those moves happen. But we'll see how that plays out. I believe he would be scheduled to pitch the Saturday game of the Cleveland series next weekend. So we'll see what happens. But he was really good today. And coming off of that stinker that he had against the Mets, this was what you would expect from the 2023 version of Lucas Giolito. Put a lot of guys on base, which he hasn't necessarily been doing all year. You mentioned the 3 walks. He also hit at least one batter. I think he hit one guy, plus all the hits. But, hey, he got the defensive plays that he needed to get out of it. He made the strikeout pitches that he needed to get out of it. He only went 5 innings because the pitch count was kind of high because of, again, the aforementioned people that he put on base. But this is the kind of start that Lucas has been delivering all year long. He put the White Sox in a very good position to win. And then you had the 3 innings of shutout relief from Joe Kelly and Reynaldo Lopez as well. The pitching was just fantastic up until the 9th inning there. So Giolito did it again. And for everybody, worrying that the one bad outing against the Mets ruined his trade value, he went out there again today and said, no, it's fine.
Yeah, they're looking at the totality of the year and what type of pitcher that he is. That's why there were like 18 scouts there. Yeah, it might have been bad for the Mets game, but Lucas is more solid than what that outing showed it. And so they're not judging off of that one start, just like they're not judging off of this start. But maybe this quells a couple fears for White Sox fans that think that his trade value is all broken up now. So I think Lucas Giolito, I'm going to be very sad when he does leave. And I think this is possibly his last start as a White Sox because Saturday is the last one, and then the trade deadline's what, next Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Well,
So,
the rumor, right now ESPN has him pitching Friday.
okay, so jumping because of the day off tomorrow, just pitching on regular
make
rest.
sense?
It makes sense because
we'll
of their
see.
injuries.
I don't know if that's been announced. I can.
Yeah,
try
it's.
to look that up.
It's just ESPN, just kind of
Guessing, yeah.
Guessing. Right now, the guesses are Kopech, Lane, Cease, Gio. Again, the
Tukey
big
in
thing
there. They didn't even put Tukey in there. Come on now.
Tukey Saturday.
So they're just switching. Okay.
Yeah, well, again, that's not official. I don't know if it's official. But again, we really talked about that after the Mets game, Vinnie and I, when you were in Toronto. Mm-hmm. That again, he was not on regular rest, and he's a different pitcher when not on regular rest, and we saw that today. He was normal 2023 Lucas Giolito, and that is a healthy pitcher. He's got a crazy frame. He's got the ability to control 3 pitches. Steven, if you want to flash the stuff and results for Lucas today, 49 fastballs, 26 changeups, 22 sliders. Again, just really trusting those 3 pitches a lot this year, and sometimes we've seen the slider be the most used pitch, sometimes we've seen the changeup be the most used pitch, but he is absolutely being able to work in, up, out, around the zone. He has just been absolutely consistent this year. 5 whiffs on 24 swings for his four-seam fastball, 5 whiffs on 16 swings for his changeup, 2 whiffs on 8 swings of his slider, 2 called strikes for his slider, 4 called strikes for his changeup, 11 called strikes for his four-seam fastball, 29 called strike plus whiff percentage. That's average for Major League Baseball. He is absolutely, you said 3rd or 4th on the Dodgers rotation-wise. Again, their health has been absolutely screwed up. I mean, he could be their second pitcher in a playoff outing. Urias has been bad. Buehler's hurt. Clayton Kershaw's been hurt. Like, I mean, he could be the second guy they go to because, again, he's just been so consistent. And we saw him at one time in Oakland in a playoff game, and that really, I mean, drew the attention of Pedro Grifol, and that's the player that he's been trying to get out, is that intense, locked-in Lucas Giolito, and I think we really have seen that this year. Any final thoughts on Lucas, this game? We got the trade deadline special tomorrow. We're about a week out with Ryan McGuffey.
Yeah, we'll talk about a lot of trade stuff tomorrow, I'm sure. But just to update, I looked it up. The only announced starters are for the 2 Cub games, Kopech on Tuesday, Lynn on Wednesday.
Okay. So, and obviously we'll be seeing Lance Lynn on the 26th when we go out to our Crosstown Series event. So that's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox post-game show. That's Vinnie Dubry. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Dubry. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter at ActonWall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. You can follow the show on Twitter at CHGO_White Sox. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Clark for the Sox Max. Congratulations. We'll give a shout out to Mark Burley. The question was, how many players did he allow on base? What was it?
That would be
16 years ago? Oh, I was just 2009, 2023. 16 years ago?
18 or what?
How long ago was
That's
2009?
14
years ago. The 14th anniversary of him allowing 0 batters, and then it was the 18th no-hitter. So they said how many perfect games were thrown before that. 17 was your Sox math answer.
Congratulations.
I was there. Anyways, that's going to do it. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Bye.